everybody, welcome back to the I'll Do Cycling podcast. Today, giving you a preview of Tirreno Adriatico. Luckily, the start list was released literally about 2 hours ago, or at least the kind of provisional start list. Still subject to a bit of change, but generally we've got whole teams and those won't change too much, so we'll be able to give you a nice accurate prediction about each stage and also a overall general classification. This will be put podcast and YouTube. If you are listening to it on YouTube, just by the way, just drop a like and subscribe. If you're a fan of fantasy cycling and Velo games, then definitely subscribe because there'll be a Tirreno Velo games video coming up in the coming days. So I think that's about it. Check us out on Instagram at I'll Do Cycling, because I know that all you YouTube people, you wait around for like a minute and then you click off a video, right? Just hold on. Stage 1 cam. It's going to be a sprint. And it's probably going to be one of the only sprint stages. It's probably one of two. Like, I reckon maybe stage 6 as well. I think it's, stage 6, potentially. But stage 1 looks like a sprint stage. Therefore, who are the fastest sprinters here? I'm going with Merlier. What was it? Tim Merlier. That's what they were saying in all the commentary.
Correct, yeah.
Tim Merlier. He won a one-day race today, beat Cav, but he launched with 300 to go and just caught everybody off guard. I'm quite liking the look of him at the moment. Who else have we got?
Davide Ballerini.
Ballerini, absolutely, for sure. He's in such good form. Viviani looked good at UAE Tour. Who else?
Someone like Chimolai. I know we haven't seen much of him, but he has shown himself to be a really competitive sprinter.
Andrea Pasqualon for Intermarché.
Wout van Aert. I know he's going potentially for overall.
He could win every stage of this, so he's going to have to be careful he's going to have to pick and choose, because he can't win every single one. He can maybe finish 5th every single time.
Can he?
Well, no, it's going to be hard because certain MVDP's here. Other fast sprinters, Caleb Ewan, probably him and Ballerini, I'd say, the fastest sprinters here. Followed maybe by Viviani, dare I say, after his UAE kind of comeback. Ivan Garcia.
Gaviria's here.
Doesn't have much of a lead out, again. I don't know why UAE keep doing this to him. Don't give him a whole lead out, but kind of split the team. It's like, just choose. Just send one to one race and one to another.
You got Machete and Lipins. Lipins, I imagine, will be the lead-out man.
Yeah. Moschetti's been crashing.
Caleb Ewan,
recently.
fucking hell.
Yeah, Caleb Ewan. Max Cantor for DSM. Corey Becker also don't have anybody. Bonifacio. And actually a lot, really. I'm thinking Ballerini and Caleb Ewan. Caleb's got a really good lead out here, considering that the only guy who they have GC is really Tim Bellens, but he could actually contribute in his own way to a lead out if he does it from kind of the first bit and then drops back. I think Caleb, yes, he won a stage of UAE Tour, but form is kind of form at the moment. I think Ballerini is just looking so good. Whether he might fancy some of the punchier stages, but they do also have Alaphilippe here, so whether he'll just be given the sprint stages and then told to help in the other stages, potentially. Sagan, I guess, as like a sprinter. I mean, who are you thinking? Caleb, Ballerini, somebody else?
I don't know. I didn't like Caleb that much in UAE Tour.
Yeah.
I looked a lot at. I like Ballerini. I think he's shown himself to be quite a versatile finisher.
Yeah.
Finished quite well in Strade as well.
Yeah. So you go Ballerini.
I think form-wise, Ballerini has shown himself to be the best sprinter here.
Yeah.
Whether he can execute on such a bigger stage, in a stage race, shown himself to be quite good one day, and around potentially like moderately hard fields. This is kind of an elite field. Can he show it now? I think is the big question. But I think he can.
I'm gonna go with Tim Merlier, just because he's won Le Samin and the race today. And if Van der Poel is actually on lead-out duty, like he was supposed to be on Kuurne-Brussels-Kuurne, then I certainly think that Merlier could take it.
Yeah, because no one's going to get round Van der Poel's elbows. So
yeah, exactly.
As soon as how do you say it again?
Merlier.
Merlier goes, Van der Poel just goes, sticks his elbows out. Everyone's like, God damn it, but you get out of the way. Poo, what you doing?
So we're going Ballerini, Merlier. Cool. Stage 2. Punchy stage. By punchy, I mean it's just flat for the first half and then up and down quite a bit, and then it ends with, 7.5 kilometres at 3.6%. But the last 3k is around 5%. So it's nothing too crazy. Draft still an impact here. There's a couple of climbs beforehand, kind of 5k at 7%, 4k at 6%. So there's gonna be some fatigue legs going into this, and I'm seeing quite a mix of riders who could do well here. Van der Poel, of course, the first name after Stade, he's got to be, or I'd say maybe the favourite for this stage. Other guys, Wout van Aert, depends if he's needs like bonus seconds and stuff, whether that's kind of his aim. Whether he's thinking, there's a hilltop finish later on, is he thinking, I need to get bonus seconds and rely on my TT, and then I'll just limit my losses on the mountain stage and just kind of see what's what. I think that would be a good option. Because we've got Alain Barou, your favourite, for Astana. We've got Sonny Colbrelli, Sagan, Alaphilippe / I won't go with Ballerini for this. I think we've seen him done okay in like Provence, but that uphill sprint where he narrowly beat Ciccone.
Yeah,
I think that was quite short. This is a bit too long.
Yeah, you've got to be a special 70 kilo plus rider to be in this finish.
Yeah, I'm considering that maybe it's too easy for Alaphilippe to win. I think he would need it to be 7% plus. I think this favours more Van der Poel with being about 5%.
Or Wout.
Or Wout, yeah. Sergio Higuita.
Or
Pog, yeah, Pog, of course. I reckon Ineos, they'll be going for Bernal and just kind of limit his time loss. I think the group will be all together. There'll be quite a large group of, say, 30 to 40 riders, but Bernal will be finishing maybe in the top 10, just trying to keep things stitched together. Wellens is pretty fast in these kind of finishes. Who else have we got? So that's about it.
Do you not think it's going to be an interesting dynamic between Alaphilippe and Zhao?
Yeah, I think that's going to be quite difficult, because I think they could both do really well on GC. And Zhao's proved himself to be fairly fast as well. So I think that's going to be quite difficult to balance the two together, because I think Alaphilippe could do well on GC here, but Zhao definitely could as well. So who do you just go with both of them? I don't know. I think that is a good point. Tricky dynamic. Stage 2, who are you picking? Van der Poel? It's probably
Pogacar.
You're going Pog? I'll go Van der Poel then. I feel like it's too good form. Very similar to stage 2, but I'd say probably to a lesser degree in terms of difficulty. It's stage 3. Drag up to the line. Again, I'd consider this to be too difficult for a out-and-out sprinter such as Caleb. But I do believe that this could be in the realm of a Ballerini, in my eyes. I do think that Ballerini could win stage 3. And it's really up and down all day, but, so is Stade. And that finish is drags for, 10k, and it's all 3%. Last 500 metres is... What was it? It says 5 to 3%. I'm not really too sure. I do think Ballerini would stand a better chance of winning this stage than going with Alaphilippe.
Yeah, but at the same time, Ballerini's never gone up against Van der Poel.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
So for a stage like this, which is, it's rolling all day, and it's, it's a hard finish. Like, it's uphill, and can you see beyond Van der Poel, really? I can't.
I'm not even sure if Wout's going to be going for this. Well, I think Wout will be, but at the same time, the stage after is the hilltop finish. Does he need to be wasting a bullet and going like really hard in a sprint here for 10 bonus seconds when maybe that might be better saved trying to think about the day after instead. I think that would be a smarter move from Wout. Maybe he could go for the day before.
I think
instead,
it'll be
and then do a bit easier.
It'll be interesting because you can tell whenever they race each other, Van der Poel and Wout, they always want to beat each other.
Yeah.
So with this, Wout's going to have to fight that instinct to go toe-to-toe with Van der Poel, because if he does it and he takes that personal, then he's going to waste energy and his GC ambitions are going to be down the toilet.
Yeah.
But if he fights that and just sticks with his GC guns, I don't see why he couldn't give it a fair crack.
Yeah. So what are you thinking? Stage 3.
Van der Poel.
Van der Poel. I'll go with Ballerini. Bold. I know it's going to be quite hard to beat, but I think Van der Poel is just an out-and-out favourite for a lot of these stages. Stage 4. This is the big one. Mountaintop finish, 14.7k at 7% up the Prati de Tivo. Main GC contestants here will start off with the big guy, Pogačar. I think it's going to be difficult to beat him here, considering his run of form. He's definitely still got those kind of UAE legs. Well, he was going up against a very good Adam Yates. Of course, he'll be going up against Simon Yates, who I don't think is in fantastic form.
He's also injured from Strade.
Yep.
And didn't take part in the race today. So he was like, fingers crossed, hope I can recover in time for Tirreno Adriatico.
There's no way that fingers crossed, hoping you're in good form, is going up against Pogačar, who was literally in the same group as, like, that Strade group was so prestigious. Like, if you're there, you're so good right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of other people in that group, Bernal, I'd say that's the other main person who will be contesting this finish. I think it's for sure between these two. It'll be just a mountaintop shootout between them, which will be cool. I think it's good to finally see. It'll finally be the two big future talents going head to head, and they're both in good form. So that's pretty mega. In terms of other riders who we've got here, I'll just start at the top and work down. Yates, we said no. Fuglsang, again, he wasn't in that front group at Strade. He was working really hard, but he's just not on the level of Pogačar and Bernal.
Equally, Fuglsang was on the same level as Simon Carr. Basically, he was a little bit stronger, to be fair. But if you're saying Fuglsang's going to finish 10th overall, why can't Simon Carr finish 10th?
I think that's a good point. We'll come on to that in a second. Landa finished in the front group of the GP League One today. So he's clearly not crap at the moment, and certainly somebody who I could see certainly finishing in the top 10, potentially kind of like a top 5.
Someone else who's had good form is Mike Woods.
Yeah.
In that stage race, maybe a week ago.
Yeah, it was like,
maybe a bit longer.
Yeah.
So he's obviously got some good legs. The competition there was not bad.
Yeah.
Either. So, I know Dan Martin's their guy apparently, but
okay.
I can't look past Mike Woods. I hate Dan Martin's not that good. I don't hate Dan Martin. Jesus.
Mike Woods and Dan Martin will have trouble because a lot of these puncher stages, they both fit the same rider category, which is not a very good time trialist, but good at a steep uphill finish.
Which doesn't work in the current age. So
no, exactly.
Get ready to finish 8th overall.
Going back to this climb, of course, we've got like you said, the Alaphilippe Almeida duo. Hard to say who's going to be doing what. One thing that I have noticed is that Alaphilippe can survive Category 1 climbs, but HC climbs he struggles on. If this is an HC climb, I'd be favouring Zhao, personally. I think the distance will favour Zhao more. That's just me. I can see Alaphilippe hanging on for quite a long time, but when those attacks come from, I'd say more than likely Pogačar or Bernal will be attacking first. I just see Alaphilippe holding his pace and just not being able to go with them. I think that he could finish top 10, and I reckon Zhao will finish top 5, but Alaphilippe will finish somewhere between 5th and 10th. That's just my take on that. Like,
do you think this is definitely going to be a GC day and not a breakaway?
I think this has got to be a GC day. It's got to be. It's the only chance of a hilltop finish that is kind of long. Higita for EF Education Nipo and Simon Carr. I think we've got to chuck him in, considering his recent Strade form, and form is form at this time of year. Higita looked okay in the UAE Tour and would be somebody who I'd expect him to finish in the top 10 of this in GC, but again, beating Pog and Bernal, difficult. Simon Carr, he could finish top 10 on GC. He absolutely could. It just depends really about this stage. I think he'll survive all the others just fine. Pino, honestly, I'm just not sure about Pino. I'm not willing to put my neck on the line and say Pino's going to win. I'll go back to Ineos in a second. Wout van Aert will be looking to limit losses on today's stage. Tobias Foss could be a bit of a backup and allowed to do his own thing. Or maybe Foss will just be guiding Wout up. Because Wout will have to just play that card of just holding his own pace. And we've seen how good he can be at climbing. Tim Valens, I consider this to be too long of a climb for him. What do you think? Too long?
For sure, mate. Yeah.
Too long? Cool. Quintana.
Too long, too steep, too hard.
Quintana looked good today in the race to which Landa was in. So I won't be counting out Quintana, but again, just not the same level. Bardet, I don't know. Probably not, but, for Julian, maybe there's a chance. There's a chance he could do alright. Or who else have we got? Gogol?
Potentially.
You can't write him off, can you? Nibali, nah. Pogacar will have Formolo, Micah and Polanc as his kind of train, which we saw do okay at UAE Tour, but it wasn't fantastic. Micah wasn't pulling as long turns as was expected. Versus Ineos Grenadiers, who are far superior in my eyes here. They are bringing a train of Kwiatkowski, Martinez, Sivakov and G. G will definitely be slotting into the lead-out train. I'd say maybe second man. Kwiatkowski, G, Sivakov, Martinez, then Bernal, considering how Martinez was going in UAE Tour. And then they've got Ganna and Puccio for the flat. That is a killer team, and something which is stating intent to show that Pogacar is not having his own way this year. Somebody is going to stand up to him, and it's going to be them. So overall, I guess you're picking Rog or Pog or Bernal.
I'm picking Bernal.
You're picking Bernal, so I'll pick Pog. Because it's going to be one of those two. Stage 5. As you can see, it is up and down for the last... the last half of this stage is so hard. It's just a load of circuits of 1.5 kilometre at 10%, and then 1 kilometre at 7.2%, and it just rotates that. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times up that circuit, and then finishes up a different climb.
I think it's 4.5.
4.5?
It just doesn't finish on the 10% one.
Okay. Anyway, this is brutally hard, and I think personally, this is bold, but I feel like this could be too much for Van der Poel.
Jeez.
I know it's
level of disrespect on it, man.
It's something. It's hard.
I made him my lock screen.
Do you think that this is all going to come down to the last climb, or do you reckon a move's going to go earlier?
I think a move will go earlier. Yeah.
I think that if Bernal's down on GC, he's not taking it to Pog in the final TT. So he's got to try to do something here. And Ineos have the strength to be able to do that. Ineos have the strength to send somebody in the break. And then try and do it that way instead.
So, alright, my question to you is, if Van der Poel doesn't have the strength for this, who does?
Pogacar and Bernal. I just think that it's just up and down all the time. And I know that Van der Poel's really good at that stuff, but I just think it's too many times. Strade had areas in between where it was flatter and Van der Poel could recover, whereas this is just on and off the whole time.
I think you've got to look at that Strider group was the people who are best at
short
basically this parkour.
Yeah.
I know that the parkour was slightly easier.
Yeah.
But it's a very similar parkour, and Bernal and Pog might be better by then.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But
I feel like it's on the cusp. I do think Van der Poel could make it, but it's hard. It's hard to say.
All right. What about this? Alaphilippe will have likely lost time.
Yeah.
On the HC.
Mm-hmm.
So Alaphilippe, when Pog and Bernal are looking at each other, counters, goes solo, wins.
Alaphilippe could do that. This is Alaphilippe written all over it. Considering how Wout looked at Stradé and how he was struggling later on with the kind of short repeated efforts, this is a big stage. Is that 236 kilometers? I'm just looking at the picture. That is 200 plus
206.
That's 200 plus Ks. Wout was struggling towards the end on the steeper efforts.
That's something else to say.
Could Wout be dropped here?
Potentially. The first 3 stages were all over 200k.
Yeah, it's a big old race. I think this could arguably be the hardest day. Harder than the day before. Putting a name on it is going to be really hard. I think let's face it, you're between Pogačar, Bernal, Alaphilippe and Van der Poel.
I get what you're saying about Van der Poel. Probably too many. Probably regret that. You'll probably snap this and put it on Instagram. But I'm going to say Alaphilippe instead.
Yeah.
Because I think he's out of the GC battle. He's looking to make up time / get a stage win.
It's going to be hard for anybody else to. This is just going to be a tour of people, the same people winning over and over. In my eyes, I think I'm going to go with Pog again. Just because, I don't know, he's just got something about him. I feel like if Van der Poel isn't there, then Pog can definitely take it to Alaphilippe. But yeah, I think Bernal's looking really snappy as well and could certainly win. So I think it's going to be between those 4, but we'll pick those 2. Stage 6, I guess the real question is, do you think that those last 4 lumps and the accumulation of the hills in the first half, because those aren't nothing to be sniffed at, is this too difficult for a sprinter like Caleb Ewan?
I think that is it too difficult to keep a chase going by a team whilst also keeping their sprinters in the game?
Yeah.
And I think potentially it could be. So I think this could be like a strong breakaway goes again halfway through kind of day.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking breakaway.
Because, especially this first half, which is it's up and down. Like, it's not super hard climbs, but it's up and down. And it's very much like, I could imagine a really strong breakaway going away. Could Ghana go away or something?
Yeah.
Probably. And if there's no impetus behind, because, I don't know, Caleb Ewan's getting spat and... I don't know, let's say a quick step guy's up the road, so Ballerini doesn't chase. Basically, I reckon it's a breakaway for me.
Nice.
I don't think it's... I don't want it to be a sprint, because sprint's boring.
Yeah, I mean, the climb the last 4 climbs are the same climb. And it says here that the first 600 metres of the climb is 6.4%, but the whole climb on average is 4%, which makes me think that it's too hard for a sprinter. The sprinter who would be winning that would be Ballerini, because I believe that Ballerini could make it over those. I mean, of course, you'd have to go back and listen to the other punchers, but kind of, if that's the case, a Van der Poel, an Aaron Baru, a Van Dam, Greg, Colbrelli, Sagan, those kind of esque riders would be doing well. But like I say, they've just been through a really tough stage the day before, which means that the GC aren't really going to be too interested in doing much here. If it's more than likely going to be too hard for the sprinters, by the looks of things, it's going to be down to puncher teams to hold things together. And what I've learned in the past is that puncher teams rarely stitch things together for their puncher to finish it off, because they're relying upon other puncher teams to help them, and they don't want to be made a mug of because they're the only one working, which makes me think that yes, I think a breakaway could certainly make this, and considering that would be one stage out of 7, like, you're not going to go through the whole tour, like the whole Tirreno Adriatico, without one breakaway. I feel like a breakaway has to make it one day. So with that in mind, breakaway, let's go with that as our scenario. I'm thinking, could Simon Carr?
Potentially. I'll tell you what, I've just picked out 5 names.
Okay. Whilst you go through your 5 names, I'll pick out some names as well.
Okay. Tim Vellens.
Mm-hmm.
Simon Clark.
Yeah.
Quinn Simmons. Filippo Ganna. And Genietz. So I'm thinking these are 5 guys who have shown themselves to be good on a parkour like this. And who, most of them have shown recent stellar form.
Yeah.
If not someone like Quinn Simmons, funny background and whatever. But he was riding amazing and just got, a puncture and was out.
He's going to be pissed about that starting, and he's going to be wanting to make up and do something at Tirreno. And I feel that this is a really good opportunity to do it. We didn't really mention Quinn Simmons about the previous punchers stages, but maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I also like someone like Cy Clark. Showed himself to be... He was in the group with Fulsang. He's strong.
Yeah.
Genietz has been shown himself to be really good. Could Gogol be in this group as well?
Yep.
I think there's 8 to 10 guys who could be in a really strong... Like, I'm imagining, right, this day, 20-man break goes.
Yeah.
Full of different sprinters, teams, whatever.
Yeah.
Sprinters can't be arsed chasing. It's left up to GC. They don't need to chase it back. It goes.
Yeah.
And then it's literally just going to get whittled down over those last bumps. And it's just going to be like strong guys like these left.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Have you got any guys that you're thinking?
Maybe like an Asgreen. I feel that De Koenig will be pretty happy with just leaving Alaphilippe and Almeida in the bunch behind. Stybar maybe. Simon Carr, like a Rudy Mollard. Who else? Mads Schmidt. Lots of names you could pick. Like you said, Quinn Simmons. I think UAE won't bother. They're pretty... they'll just be all like, we need to protect Pogacar. And that's it. Then you got like the Astana guys. They might send like a Feline. Andrea Van Dram for AG2R. Rob Stannard for Bike Exchange. Like so many names. I think picking the right winner here from a breakaway is going to be more luck rather than judgment, because there are so many who could do it. But let's try and let's pick a name.
I'm going to go for Tim Vellens.
Nice. Yeah, with the banking, but he's probably lost time. Well, I think you're probably right about Vellens. So I'm going to pick somebody who needs to be able to go with Vellens.
And who could beat Vellens.
But then beat Vellens. So I'm going to go with Quinn Simmons.
Fair. I like this. Right, stage 7.
Stage 7.
Last stage.
Unofficial time trial championships. 10 kilometre... Where is it? 10 kilometres or is it 12? No, it's the 10 kilometre time trial championships. And we all know who's going to win. It's going to be Ghana.
But who's going to show themselves to be worthy?
Who's going to do well? Pogacar could probably finish in the top 10 here, to be honest with you.
And Zhao.
Who else are we looking at? Wout, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Affini and Foss for Jumbo-Visma. Maybe it's 2 power course for Foss.
Kung.
I
don't know, Foss has shown himself to be just about as strong as... bloody hell. Zhao.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I think the only person like Ganna for Ineos and Bernal for Ineos will be going hard, but like Kwiatkowski, Martinez, and G, like maybe. I don't think they'll be going hard. Maybe Sivakov will, just because he's trying to train his time trial a bit for kind of Grand Tours, and he needs to improve.
I
that
imagine
a bit.
If you're like someone like G, you're gonna get told, all right, you need to go hard here because it's good practice.
Yeah. Lawson Craddock for EF. Asgreen.
Sometimes, yeah, Asgreen. Langeveld sometimes does a good TT.
Yeah. Who else have we got? Bodnar seems to be slowing down a bit in his time trial, to be honest with you. Jan Tratnik. Another one. Feline. Used to be able to do a prologue really fast. Maybe he's still got that. Van der Poel will probably, because he'll be like, oh, I don't spend much time on the time trial bike, but I'm just going to go hard anyway because Wout's going hard, so I need to go hard. Nobody from AG2R, and I don't know, Bike Exchange, maybe Heppy and Jack Bauer. That's about it. Basically, Ganna's going to win, so who do you think is finishing second? I'm thinking... like just a couple of names. I'm like, your Kungs, your Asgreens. I think those two are Wout as well. And then in terms of Bettiol, forgot to mention Bettiol. Bettiol hasn't looked great recently. I'm thinking Kung, Asgreen, or Wout. And I don't know. I'm going to go Asgreen for second place.
I'm going to go Zhao.
Wow.
Yep.
That is bold.
I think he's going to be down on GC, flat chat, and I think at pure watts, on that kind of effort, he's better than Pogacar.
Nice.
So I'm going bold and saying Zhao.
Do you want to give your GC podium?
Oof.
Or do you want me to give mine first?
You go first.
Bear in mind, if I pick somebody first and you think the same, don't feel like you have to change.
Okay.
I feel like if you think that somebody's winning and I think the same person's winning, then that's fine.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Second place in the TT is Wout van Aert.
Oh, right, sorry.
I just forgot about Wout.
Yeah.
Zhao's third.
Bloody hell. My GC podium, I think Pogacar's going to win. I think that Bernal will come second. And third, see, Palmer wants to say Zhao. And yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I think Zhao will come third. I was tempted to say Wout, but I don't think he will. I think Wout will finish top 5. But I think that climb will be too hard for him, and that long up and down stage on stage 5, he will get dropped and maybe finish about 30 seconds down. So it's quite boring, Pog, Bernal and Zhao, but I don't know.
Mine's basically identical, apart from I've decided that Bernal is going to win.
Yep.
And that Pog is second and Zhao is third.
Nice. So you think that Bernal's going to put in time on the HC climb?
Mm-hmm.
He did look good. He was technically better than Pog in Stadi.
It just depends, what Julian said the other day. about Pogacar's ability to overcome fatigue and recover, and whether that allows him over the course of a week to then level the playing field and maybe become superior to Bernal.
Yeah. I think, out of the 7 stages, I predict the stage wins to all be between 3 or 4 riders. It'll be Ganna, Van der Poel, Pogacar, and like maybe Bernal or Wout maybe as that 4th rider. That's honestly how I see it going. And I think that it might be quite boring in that sense that it's just the same riders, but hey,
I don't know, because it's like a little fight within a fight.
I think you're right. It's not often that we get just the creme de la creme all going up against each other when we're in really good form. So I think you're right in that battle. It's kind of like a 4-way, like Pog, Van der Poel, Bernal, and Wout, all clash of the titans.
Yep.
You've got to appreciate it in that sense, I think. So that's it. That's the preview.
That's it. That's the end of the story.
That's it. That's what we think is happening. It'll be the big names that we saw in Stadi doing well again. And yeah, so what's after Tirreno, the next stage race will be Volta Catalunya. That starts on the 22nd, so that's a little bit away. But in the meantime, there'll be, I don't know, maybe we'll do a review or 2 of Paris-Nice and Tirreno. And maybe we'll do one of like Milan-San Remo or something. Next, is it Saturday? No, it's like 2 weeks away. I don't know. It's like 2 weeks away.
That was a bit ambitious. Anyway,
yeah. So, and then there'll be Valley Game stuff coming up. And that's it. That's the end of the story. All that's left to say is to keep your masks on, stay safe, and we'll talk to you next time. And